Hello, my name is Amanda Tatro, and the following presentation is my reflection presentation for Salt Lake Community College ART 1200 InDesign course conducted in the fall of 2022 by Professor Jessica Curran. I'll spend the next 10 to 15 minutes reflecting on my experience taking the ART 1200 InDesign course. Over the fall, we covered many topics and we learned many InDesign skills. We showed off these skills by completing 7 projects along the way, and we finished up by uploading our work to a digital portfolio. Today, I'll briefly discuss each project and then narrow down my favorite, my not so favorite project, and how these projects may impact my future career. Let's get started. The first project we worked on was a Fix a Broken InDesign project. This project was designed to help us learn how to fix missing fonts, relink missing files, delete unused colors, and pre-flight our document. Oh, and we also practiced properly packing our project. I'm sorry, not packing, properly packaging our project. Okay, so to the left, we learned how to check for broken links. In the dialog box up there, top left again, if there was an error, you would see the little triangle with an exclamation point next to each one of the files. It would be a yellowish orange color, and that would just notify you that there's an error and you need to relink those. Bottom left is accessed from the swatches panel in InDesign. This is where I'm able to delete any unused colors within my project. The larger image in the middle is a copy of my final document with marks and bleeds labeled. The image on the right is the pre-flight panel where I confirmed that there were no errors associated with the project. This panel helps me catch any errors before submitting the file to a potential commercial printer. Next, we worked on the Introduce Yourself project. We worked with creating a new document, adding text, objects, and we learned how to modify text with fill and strokes. On the left side, I included an image of my attempt at adding text on a path. Not too bad. Middle image is the final project. The image on the right is an example of me modifying the text frame to include a unique look around the word mother. Now we have designing with spot colors. This project gave us the opportunity to practice working with spot colors. Check colors via the separations preview panel, use text and unassigned boxes, as well as creating custom shapes. The image to the left was provided by Professor Curran and is an example of how utilizing the separations preview panel revealed a portion of my project that I didn't have the correct color associated with the image. This would have caused an issue once it was printed. The image in the center is my final product, and the image to the right is an example of the separations preview panel being used to only reflect the purple spot color I had chosen for this project. Next is creating vector art project. With this project, we practice properly sizing our document, saving colors as process CMYK, creating vector art, and we continue to work with strokes and fills. The bottom 2 images are the final product. Oh, and I'm sorry, when I say the bottom 2, I mean the ones that are in the background. Those are my final product. The left image is the front of the postcard mailer, and the image on the right in the background is the back side of that mailer. The bottom right image that's on top demonstrates how I used the pen tool to trace the cactus and the pots. And then the top left image reflects how I use stroke and fill tools to make the outline have texture, and then I used a fill to color the vector shape. Some of the skills we learn this semester is styles for efficiency. So we worked on the styles for efficiency project where we learned how to turn off facing pages, use text frames, turn on hidden characters, and apply styles. The left top image is a screenshot of the paragraph styles I created. The middle image on top is the final product and the middle image on top of the final product is an example of the text box. You can see on the background documents that I used stroke on the text box, and then I selected a fancy curve for each frame to give it a unique look. On the right, you can see an example of how I displayed hidden characters so I could confirm there weren't any unnecessary spaces and such. The bottom image reflects facing pages turned on, but for this project, I unchecked this box at the beginning while setting up the document. The next project we worked on was the multi-page newsletter. In this project, we learned how to work with columns. We created a custom logo. We learned how to span multiple text frames using threads. And then we also learned about using text wrapping. The top image on the left is an example of my pages for this project. You can see that I have a parent page B and C applied. The next image under that one reflects the threading that was used. The image on the far right image is the custom logo I created by combining shapes and changing the corners. In the final product, you will see that I used wraparound bounding box for most of the images. In my opinion, the wraparound object shape is a tough one to make work well. Visually, to me, it just sometimes doesn't work out very nicely, but I was able to use it on the very last image on the last page, the little image of the houseplant. The next project we worked on was the interactive PDF, which gave us a chance to work with layers, hyperlinks, adding bookmarks, making animation, creating clickable buttons, and then we had to publish our work. On the first page of my design, which is in the top left corner, I used hyperlinks to my email, to my photograph website, and my academic website. On the next two pages, I made words and images that were clickable that would take you back to other images on my website. I then added a YouTube video link on the fourth page. And then on the very last page, I apologize, I had a Facebook icon that if you click on that, it takes you to my Facebook page. And then I also added bookmarks for each page and I added navigation buttons. The final project for the ART1200 course was to create an outline portfolio. I'm sorry, not an outline, an online portfolio by collecting work, organizing it, and then publishing it. And then finally, we had to share it with Professor Karam. I used Digication for my portfolio because I already had one set up from previous courses. And at this point in the semester, I'm tired and not really excited about setting up something new. The image on the left reflects the settings panel where I modified the page to create a visual output. The image on the right reflects the final version. So this brings us to the million-dollar question. What project did I enjoy the most? So before I get to the number one choice, I have to say choosing one project I enjoyed the most was very difficult. I felt like each project offered something new and cool and exciting. But my top four are number one, introduce yourself, because this was the first time we got to show off our new skills and practice what we had learned at this point. It was also fun to have creative freedom. Number two, creating vector art was really difficult and tedious. But once I got into it and I got the hang of it, I really started thinking about all the creative possibilities. Although I really feel like this is one that you really have to practice on a regular basis. I don't think I personally could take time off and just jump right back into it. Not at this point with my InDesign skills. Number three, styles for efficiency. Now this one is my jam. I love to automate processes so that I'm working smart, not hard. I like being able to leave a trail so that when I come back to things later, I don't have to question what colors or fonts I used. Number four, interactive PDF. This one was so much fun because it was like breathing life into an otherwise boring document. I really had fun with this project. So that brings us to what is the number one choice? You guessed it, interactive PDF. This one, like I said, I had so much fun with. So I'll break it down. Why it's the number one choice? Knowledge. At this point in the semester, we had learned so many new skills that I felt more comfortable working with InDesign. I spent less time stumbling around with this project and I was working with intent. Next, I think future is on my list. I feel like I can really use the interactive PDFs for future careers and jobs. I feel like if I get with the right company that has never used interactive PDFs, they would be really impressed. And on the flip side, if I find a company that I'm working with that already uses interactive PDFs, but I also have that skill, that'd probably make them pretty happy. And then the final reason is I felt like this was my nicest project. I took a lot of time researching color schemes and styles and really wanted to design something that visually looked nice and had a nice flow to it. So I felt like this project was most visually striking of all my projects. So my least favorite assignment was the multi-page newsletter. I felt like this project had so many moving parts that it was difficult to know where to begin. I found myself kind of working backwards. For example, I built out the document, I included proper spacing and fonts and colors. And then after I kind of had everything laid out, I went back and added in those paragraph and character styles, which was helpful if I wanted to make any changes at that point, but I really felt like I kind of did things out of order. I spent a lot of time working on this project, and it still took me 3 attempts to get it correct, which I'm very grateful for the multiple attempts on that. But with that being said, I also felt like this project offered the most opportunity for learning because I had to keep going back and revisiting things. Really help me understand what I was doing a little bit better. So most helpful for future career, I think the least helpful project that we worked on is probably the portfolio prep. And I know that's not really a project per se, but it's probably beneficial for the teachers and for the school, but for future career, I'm not sure that does anything for me. But who knows? You might find the right employer that would like to see that. The most likely, or not, I'm sorry, not the most likely, but the likely project we worked on, interactive PDF, is likely to be used on a job. I think more and more companies are probably using interactive PDFs. More likely is fix a broken project. I would assume any company that's using InDesign has a lot of hands on it. If you have to come in behind someone else and work on a previous InDesign project, there's a good chance there's broken links in there that you'll have to reconnect. And then the most likely project we worked on that will be beneficial for future careers is Styles for Efficiency. I really feel like I would be surprised if companies were not utilizing this within InDesign. So yeah, those are my most helpful for future careers. So what could I have done differently? This semester, I feel like I did a great job creating a schedule that I consistently followed. I worked ahead on all my assignments to allow for mishaps that life often brings. Most importantly, I asked for help if I needed it, but I think there's always room for improvement. So for me, I think I could have slowed down a bit. Some assignments I felt like I rushed through. In particular, like the knockout and overprint assignment. That one I feel like I could go back and read up on again and maybe do some test printing just to kind of solidify what I'm learning there. I really enjoyed this course and I look forward to using my new Adobe InDesign skills, but I fear I'll forget everything if I don't practice. I found some free online InDesign projects that I can do in my own time, and I found educational websites that have InDesign courses like Udemy. I'm hoping if I keep practicing, I will be ready for the advanced InDesign course that I will be taking in the future. Thank you so much for your time today. If you have any follow-up questions, you can reach me at the email listed above. Credits for this presentation template was created by SlidesGo and includes icons by Flat Icon and infographics and images by FreePick. Again, thank you so much for your time and feel free to follow up with any questions via my email. Have a great day.